Anytime we are proud of our achievement, what we say is, Yawadoye. I can assure you, after a tour of certain facilities in Ghana, that indeed, Yawadoye, people are traveling from all over the world to come and seek medical treatment in Ghana. Their airfare, accommodation whilst they are in Ghana, and other expenditures will come together to determine what we call medical tourism. Right behind me is a facility which many Ghanaians do not know about. This is the Sweden Ghana Medical Center. The type of things I have seen here are the type of facilities and personnel which our big men and those who can afford are able to travel overseas to go and obtain. But I can assure you, after listening to them and after seeing some of the things I have seen, that all of it is available in Ghana. Let's see what is inside.
Okay, so this is the MRI machine. MRI is magnetic resonance imaging. The MRI uses magnets with radio waves to be able to get you images of the body, to be able to see if there are abnormalities or not. So basically, this is what we do here. We also sometimes use them for therapeutic purposes, in that patients who are supposed to have treatments on the LINAC or who are supposed to have radiotherapy will also have to do an MRI, and then we fuse the MRI images with our CT images we've already taken to be able to plan on them for patients to have treatment. This is a body core which is fixed on the patient to be able to help us take images, and then patients will be moved into the machine, and then you could take your scans. Normally, the MRI also produces noise, so we have something in the form of earpieces which are put on a patient's ears. This is the CT machine, which is computed tomography. The images taken here could either be used for diagnostics and also for treatment purposes. So for diagnostics, we use this surface, as you can see. It's not really flat, it's curved inwards. Once patients lie on it, we move it up and then move it to the desired position which we want to take images. So with that, the images are taken based on which body parts which have been requested by the doctor. If the images to be taken here are supposed to be used for treatment purposes, that is for radiotherapy, we have to change the couch surface, because then the couch on the treatment floor is a flat one. So you would have to use a flat couch so we can be able to reproduce the same setup during treatment. This is an injector which is used for administration of contrast media. The contrast is injected into the patient and it's a fast process. So you're able to catch the vessels and all that which you want to see or which has to be enhanced during the process. Unlike doing it manually where you'd have to inject into patient and then running back to make sure you don't mess it. Over here are immobilization devices. What we do is that when we are going to have treatment for head and neck radiotherapy cases, we use the mask in conjunction with the headrest. So ideally, you look at the patient to be able to tell what kind of headrest to use for the patient. Whole brain tumors, we use the 3-point mask together with a type of headrest which suits the patient. If we are doing a head and neck case, like a nasopharyngeal case, then we use 5-point mask. And before then, it looks like this. It is patient specific, so every patient has a different mask. So before then, we put it in warm water at a temperature of 65 degrees Celsius. Once we get to that temperature, we put this in, it becomes soft, then we can mold it on the patient's face to be able to get the desired shape of the mask. This is going to help the patients not to move in between the setup. The same time also during treatment to help the patient not to move in between treatments. These are vacuum pillows which also serve the same purpose of immobilization, and these are used specifically for the extremities. So if you're having radiotherapy to the legs and the limbs, these are what we use to help patients not to move in between treatments. So these are vacuum pillows of patients who have already been treated and are going to be disposed of later. This is the waiting area. Patients come in and then they sit here, relaxed comfortably. The mindset that is a hospital doesn't even reflect, and then they are really comfortable and they sit here to wait to be called for their procedures. This is a control area. The control area means that there's radiation around this area and the actual treatment happens here. So before you even enter, we have questions here, and then it's been written in different languages, in English, in our local dialect tree, and then in French, especially because we have foreign patients from our neighboring countries. You also have two lights, as you can see, the red and the green. The green means the area is safe and there's no radiation on at the time. Now, when the light is red, then it means radiation is on. So whatever you're doing here, you have to stay behind till the light goes off before you come around. This is the radiotherapy room, and this is where the treatment goes on. Even from the start, you can see how thick the doors and the walls here are. This is just to prevent any scatter radiation from being exposed to people who come around. So the walls are thickened. We have emergency buttons in the room. Emergency could be either with respect to something happening within the building or to patients, when patient is on the bed and patient is going through some reactions or something. So if a radiotherapist is in and then realizes that the situation there is more than he can help, he only has to press the emergency buttons, and then we're all going to assemble at one point and then sort the situation at hand out. And this is the machine which is used for cancer treatment. Patients having radiotherapy have to go through this machine. And because of the fact that about 50% of all cancer cases will require radiotherapy, it's a very important machine in this building. So this machine has certain specific features. It's the only kind in the West African sub-region. This machine has different energies. Now, these different energies would mean that we use different kind of energies in the treatment of different depths of tumors. So for instance, if you are treating a superficial tumor, let's say you are treating something like a keloid, which is most of the time on the skin, you use a very low energy. If you're treating deep-seated tumors, then you use a high energy. So this machine has the variety. It helps you to be able to switch between energies to be able to treat the patient based on the depth of the tumor. Elsewhere, it's just one energy, and whether it is deep-seated or it is superficial, it's the same energy which is used. Another feature of this machine is the multi-leaf collimators, MLC. What these MLCs do is that they're able to move and then form the shape of the tumor. So this way, you don't have radiation going elsewhere. It only goes directly to where it has to be treated. Elsewhere, where it's just a fixed shape, then it means that if the tumor is irregular in nature, all the sites which are not supposed to be within the treatment are going to be irradiated. But over here, our MLCs define the shape of the tumor, and because of that, the radiation goes only to where we want to treat, with minimal or no side effects. If you look at the bed we have here, it is similar to what you had at CT. This is the reason why we have to change the bed from CT, because we want to reproduce the same setup for the patients during the treatment. So you realize that we have a flat couch. This couch can be moved up and down. It can be moved inside and outside. It can be moved laterally, left and right. All these are supposed to help us to be able to put the patient in the desired position we want to treat them. This machine can move around the patient. It could go to 90 degrees, it could go to 270, it could go 180. The other bit is that we also do IGRT. And when I say IGRT, I mean image-guided radiotherapy. Image-guided radiotherapy. So we have this panel which electronically takes images of patients. Over here, we aim at precision. So we want to make sure that we are treating exactly where we want to treat. So we are able to move this panel. It's called an EPID, an electronic portal imaging device. What this does is it helps us to be able to take images of patients electronically whilst the patient is still on the couch. So the patient lies down, you take the image to be sure of where you are treating, and once it's exactly where you want to treat, you can okay the treatment, and then you go ahead. Also, what happens is that they use the old way of taking images, where you slot in a film whilst the patient is still lying on the couch. So after the exposure has taken place, the film is taken out whilst the patient is still lying down, taken to a dark room where they are going to process the film for it to come out for them to see before they can tell whether the patient is in the right position or not. Now, this time elapsed is very critical, because what if you come back and the patient has moved? You can't tell. But over here, once you take the image on the EPID, you see it there on your screen, and you can go ahead and do the treatment or do your changes if you have to. These are diodes. We use them in measuring the amount of radiation patients do take in the course of the treatment. So like I said earlier, we have different types of energy. So each of them represent the different types of energies that we have. The yellow one is used for the highest energy, which is the 15 MV. The green one represents the smallest energy, which is 6 MV. And then you have this for electrons. Now, what we do with them is, when the patient comes for the first day to be treated, we have an expected dose, which we all know based on a plan that the patient is supposed to receive. So it's more like a quality assurance test. You put them on the patient and then do the treatment. We come back, it is connected to an electrometer inside the console room. So via that, we are able to tell the amount of radiation which is being exposed at the time. So you look at it and then you compare it to the expected dosage that the patient is supposed to receive at that point. If they don't agree or it's not the same value, then we have to take the plan back for it to be reconsidered again before patient is treated. Whilst the treatment is going on, the patient is the only one here in the treatment room. We, the staff, are not supposed to be around because we are not being treated. We are not sick. It's a patient who is sick and has to be treated. Now what happens is that whilst the patient is here, we move into the console room where we can be monitoring the patient. We look closely at the patient, and then we also have a communication system whereby we talk to the patient to ensure that the patient is okay before we go ahead and do the treatment. This is the electron applicator. We have different sizes. This is the smallest size you can ever have, and it depends on the nature of the superficial tumor you want to treat. So for instance, if you are doing keloids, the measurement is taken, and then based on that, we can tell which of the applicators to use, and they are fixed to be able to direct the electron energy onto the surface for the treatment. This is where the chemotherapy takes place. And in cancer care, we employ the multidisciplinary approach concept. So you don't have only one treatment option. You're looking at surgery, you're looking at radiotherapy, you're looking at chemotherapy. So all these work together and then used for the patient based on the stage of the disease and what we are looking at for the patient. In general terms, cancer is the abnormal growth of cells without control. The education and awareness here is very, very low, and well, that's why we're even doing this program, to be able to create awareness, and that way we can be able to, cancer is going to be out there because most people don't know about what it is, and people don't frequently visit the hospital, so they are home. And most of the time they present at the hospital when they have symptoms or when they present late actually. So when they only see that there's something wrong with them is only when they come. When actually, if you are visiting the hospital frequently, then some of these things can be picked up earlier. When it comes to cancer care or when it comes to cancer, we don't have a specific cause. So when somebody tells you that, oh, if you do this, you get cancer, most of the time it's a fallacy. Because what we can say is that we have factors which can predispose you to cancer. So we would want to look at them as predisposing factors and not direct causes. So for instance, if you smoke a lot, you constantly smoking, it could increase your chances of getting lung cancer. It doesn't mean that when you smoke, you are going to get lung cancer, because there are people who have smoked over the years and don't have lung cancer. So it's one, a lifestyle disease, and then two, I wouldn't say there's a direct cause, but there are things which can predispose you. We have over 100 types of cancers. Almost every part of the body can be cancerous. So if we are looking at symptoms, we are looking at specific places. So for instance, if you're having cancer within the head and neck region, then you start seeing symptoms related to that region. So looking at prevention, generally I'm going to say, well, I believe in frequent checkups at the hospital, because that is when some of these things can be picked up at an early stage. So that is for sure. Then the second one is probably living a healthy lifestyle in general. You remember I told you from the beginning, it's more of a lifestyle disease, so just living a healthy lifestyle.
In the whole of West Africa, we have 5 of such institutions in the whole of West Africa who have the type of equipment that we operate. In fact, ours is also said to be the most advanced one. And so the owners of the business chose to site their business in Ghana for the whole of the West African sub-region. Most of the time we hear about cases that have gone bad, but I can tell you that the majority of the people we have treated are living and are going about their life peacefully. So it's an encouragement for people living with cancer to come to us at a very early stage to seek treatment that they require to enable their life be a better one. Our biggest worry is when a lot of people come to our center for treatment and are unable to access treatment because of cost. They are unable to pay for treatment. It's a worry to all of us. In fact, my biggest plea to government is for governments to take off taxes on medications that cannot be found in a part of the world, and cancer happens to be one of them. And then also to ensure that we set up more NGOs who support and assist people who live with cancer, who are unable to afford treatment and want support. Those are leaders who travel around the world. I would say whatever treatment regime they receive out when they go there, when they go out there, we are able to offer the same treatment here at SGMC. And then that will also keep them close to their family. So ensure that going through treatment will not be a hassle as it used to be anytime they travel around. I would recommend that they come here for such treatment. Once you receive the right treatment therapy, cancer must not be a death sentence. Once it's detected at an early stage, the oncologist and the medical team will treat with curative intent. And what that means is that they treat with the intention to cure you. Most people have gone through our center and have received such treatment and are going about their lives without hassle. What that means is that other people can receive it when they come here. I will encourage other institutions to support people to receive treatment because cancer has no barrier. It can affect anybody, including you or me. We have an arrangement with NAT, NAGRAT, and ECG, and other institutions are also in the pipeline of coming on board this arrangement. The arrangement simply takes care of members of these institutions, their spouses, and their children, such that should any of them have any of these diseases, those funds are used to take care of them. And this would be a very kind appeal to other institutions who have numbers to form this arrangement, because what it does is it takes care of people who unfortunately would get this disease. Since in a part of the world, we don't have insurance institutions who take these cases up should they befall us. So my appeal is everybody should come on board these arrangements. That's the only way to protect our lives.